Good afternoon. It's December 7th and I am finally getting around to doing this video. It's been a long time coming. But nonetheless, here it is. Workboxes. And I have a crying child. Okay. This unit I picked up at Goodwill about probably 2 years ago, and for $5. Great piece. We have been using it for Workboxes, and I know you see Workboxes and why we don't use them. I am going to get into that shortly. I will tell you what is in them before I get into why we don't actually use it. But for those of you that are familiar or unfamiliar with Workbox system, a lady, Sue Patrick, developed this system, and it was actually not this type of unit. It was a like the clear shoe boxes set up on a metal rack, like a metal shoe rack, and it was programmed with numbers, and all of the subjects that children's work went into these bins, and they would, you know, work through these bins throughout the day, like a, you know, just like working a time clock where they punch in and punch out and move the number around once they're finished and that type of thing. Okay, that's all great and fine. However, yeah, what's like I said, ours is not set up like that. What's in their box is they all have these clipboards that I found at the dollar store some time ago, a dollar store, and what I did was their workbooks. Let me set that down there. That I would get like from Target. I would they all have a folder. They're all color coded. I have the same folder in my file box. I would go through their workbooks and tear out the pages and load up their folders as well as mine, because I was having a problem with doing something, cooking or, you know, laundry or something. Somebody would come and ask for more pages, and I would have to stop what I'm doing, and it was really inconvenient. So I made sure this summer to stay on top of it. And so I pulled them all, and now I can just go in and my folder and pull from my folder each week and load up theirs, and then they take when they want and they clip whatever pages they want on here and do. It's pretty much review work, and they can sit wherever they choose to do this. They all have a wipe clean workbook with letters and numbers and words, whatever. May not be the same one, but I know we have at least 2 of these. We have at least 2 of everything. What else is in here? In there, let's see, I laminated a sheet of their writing paper. This is I don't know if I've showed the actual books yet. I don't think I have, but these little books for this writing paper they're quite expensive, and the kids were really taking them and scribbling on them and wasting them, and that's not how I need them to use them. I need them to actually use this. So I took a page and laminated each one, so they use this for their practicing, whether it's, you know, sentences or story or name or whatever. So they all have a page, and I kind of put a little flag on top so I know whose is whose if I find them laying around. And they are double-sided, and it, you know, works out to just keep them in there. What else is in here? He has a little board, which, yeah, you see, it has seen better days. That's the reason why I had to go with this, with the laminating the page, because these things do not last. they end up wet, torn up, and all kinds of stuff. And I got tired of that. Even though they are only $1, I create this basically, you know, for nothing. So there's that. Another folder. This is what I used to do for them. Just give them notebook paper, and it got to be too much because they were wasting the paper. And so we stopped doing this, but they're still in here. You guys know little kids love paper, and I don't mind giving them paper. I just need it to be in a book. I don't want individual sheets. This is just a I create blank books with different activities. It's that way I don't have to buy them. And I think I shared this a while ago. I think this was a pre-writing book where they would learn how to connect the dots with these stickers. So that's what that is. So basically a piece of cardstock and some printer paper is in there. And let's see what else he has in here. Some spirals. I do use spirals. I've always used spirals. In fact, every kid in my neighborhood that would come to my house would have a spiral that I would keep, and I would get tons of them from Target. I mean, like 60, 70, 80, 90 of them every year. And everybody would have a spiral. So I love spirals, but they are not to the point where we're using them yet. We are going to start using them the right way. Right now, they're just solely for them to scribble and, whatever they journal, whatever they want. Not something specific. They all have highlights magazines so they can come in and read and look at the pictures and whatever. Those are good to keep. I find them at the thrift store for a dime, and yeah, just, if they're sick, those are great little things to give them to keep them busy. So I keep those in there, and we switch them out every week or so. Then they have a coloring book in here, and these are just dollar store coloring books. I am encouraging them to color all of the pages and the lines, complete correct colors and things like that. So we keep specific coloring books in there. And then I think last October, yeah, it was, I went over to Dollar Tree and got lucky. I don't do Dollar Tree really, but I'd seen these books, and it had been months before, but I actually found them. I'm trying to figure out what that noise is. At our store, and I just picked up all the ones that they had to give them some practice work. So whether or not they work in them, it's just something to keep them busy. It's not a curriculum, it's just something to keep them busy. These are Common Core standards. We're not a Common Core state, but I was curious as to what was in them. So that is the reason why I picked them up. So again, they get tired of doing the little worksheets. They have an actual book. So look, it's colorful, it's busy. And that's pretty much why I picked them up. But I just pulled them out really not a couple of months ago. They were still in a box, but they have been working through them. So some days we school year round, every day of the week pretty much. Some days I have things to do and I don't want to sit and instruct them because I have to, I have other things to do. Or, a child's having a meltdown or whatever, and I cannot just stop and start instructing. So that is the reason why they have those, and that's the sole purpose for using, the box, period. They all have pretty much the same thing in their boxes. These two are for the twins that are 5. This one is for the 3-year-old. Let's see. Yeah, she pretty much has the same thing. She has a Sesame Street write and wipe off book. And she put her little journal in there. Doc McStuffins. They do all have, or they should have, a composition book too. And she has a Humpty Dumpty magazine. And coloring book down here. Now these bottom 3 slots are for the baby. I have marked them off so that the other kids know to pull from here. I've been giving the baby her own little workbooks, and she has her own composition books and her own let's see, write and wipe book in here somewhere. But I have been teetering with giving her actual curriculum book like I did the 3-year-old, because I'm seeing that she is able to pick up on these skills. You know, she's not yet writing, although she is coloring very well for a 2-year-old. I have not taught her how to color in lines, but she's heard me say it. She's watching other kids do it, so that's what she's doing. I'm like, well, if you can do that, then you might as well just, you know, get the preschool book and do it. She is able to count. You know, if I asked her how many birds, she would be able to count. She would be able to tell me how many were blue, how many was red. She would be able to tell me how many butterflies, what color their dots are, which ones are the same or different, you know, that type of thing. So that's the reason why I'm considering giving her an actual preschool book. We're working on number identification. She is able to count to 10, although she knows numbers to 20. But seeing her, you know, just being able to say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, makes me think I may be not retarding her, but not working her to her ability. So I'm just gonna do a little assessment. But again, she's 2. I'm not gonna push. She's a fresh 2, a 2-year-old to do anything. I'm just curious to see how much she knows. You guys see her. She's a bright little kid. So yeah. So that may turn into, you know, her having an actual curriculum and things like that, if I can, to you know, get her on track. But she just, you know, like I said, she pretty much knows to go to her box and grab her stuff. But the main reason why I say we don't use, you know, work boxes in a traditional sense is because they really lean towards separation. There's a lot of independence when you're working in a work box system, the way it was set up. You know, parents are to program the boxes into subjects. That's another thing. If you are eclectic, or, you know, unschooler, or you do a lot of unit studies. You know, my kids came from a Montessori background. We do unit studies. I pretty much unschooled them, but we follow a program, my own program. You cannot set up a work box. You just cannot program those boxes if you're doing unit studies. There's no, you know, if you're doing a box curriculum, you know, there's math, English, social studies, science. You can't do that if you're unschooling or if you're doing a unit study. So it doesn't work. But the thing is, everybody's doing these videos and people are saying, oh, workbox, oh, I need to do that. I need to get the little rolly cart, which, yeah. And then they don't know why it's not working, or they only do it for a little while. They get bored because they have to keep filling those boxes up. They get behind, and then, you know, yeah, it just falls apart. It's because everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. Not that that's bad, but the it can be bad. The children are also isolated when they're doing the workbox system. It's really set up for children that are, it was designed for children that were ADHD or autistic. They need that controlled environment where they can work at their own pace, and where the learning is more segmented. And now for my 8th grader, great. This is great for him. You know, if I gave him workbox and said, this is how we do it, this is, you know, and he kind of had a basket workbox and it worked fine. But, you know, for the majority of children and families, they don't work. You know, they don't work. And I see a lot of, you know, every week what's in our workboxes, and I'm just wondering, okay, are they actually learning these things? Are they, you know, there's no interaction. And we do centers. You guys know I've showed you our centers in our other homeschool room, and centers are more inclusive. They're more teamwork. They're more inviting. It's a more creative way of learning, because the things that I give them, half of them are, you know, things that they do independently, and the other half are things that they have to do together. And if it's not together with one another, it's with me. And so when I instruct my children in any given day, I'm teaching all of them as a whole. We're going to learn geography today, but everybody's going to do it. I'm not going to teach you geography at 11 and then I'll get to you at 12:30. That's not how it works. I don't have time for that. And they're not going to concentrate like that. If I have to keep breaking up, I would lose my focus, and frankly, I would get burnout. And that's what I've been seeing, a lot of homeschool burnout, especially during this time of the year. I don't get burned out because we take plenty of breaks, and I change up the system pretty much. The heck is that beeping? If I see something's not working, like if they didn't want to do this, I would empty this and do something else. If they didn't want to do the centers I created, hey, give me an idea for a center. What would you like to do? And that's how we roll. And so, let's see, when I say they're subject specific, yeah, I pretty much, I like to be, inclusive. I like the children to be able to interact. I don't want to, even once they get older, if this did not work for my older kids. So my teenagers, I don't see it working for the little kids either. I cannot see myself sitting with one child and letting the others work through some assignments, and then they're just sticking it back in there and then going to the next thing, and maybe if I get through number 3 I'll get a sticker or I get a snack or I get a break. There's no interaction. I like to see what they're doing, how they're doing, if they're mastering, and that's what I don't see in these videos. I see what's in our boxes, but are you mastering? Are the kids able to master? I teach my children, and I like to see content mastery. When you guys see the center activities that I'm doing in the binders, the laminates, and all that kind of stuff, the worksheets, I'm looking for content mastery. I put them out. I've done maybe 2-3 videos every other week. I may put up one, and we may not actually be doing all of those activities that week because we're still working on last week, or we're still working on the week before, because somebody still needs a little help, or they still want to do it. The same thing. We may not want to move on. Okay, it's just some things that I've pulled up to piggyback on top of what they're doing. And that's, maybe not to sound judgmental, but that's what I would like to see in these workbox videos. What are you using them for? Not what's in them. How is it helping your child? How is it helping you? because basically all I see is there's math book and it's in there and they get the math book and they do the work. Are they mastering it? I have to assess the kids. I don't have to. Yay for Texas. I am, in Texas. We are unregulated private schools. So, hip hip hooray. I don't have to do any of this. But and that gives me a little more time and a little more, flex and freedom to be able to see that they are mastering. I don't have to answer to anybody. Because I know a lot of times when you're trying to keep up with, okay, you need to, keep up with your state regulations, you don't have time to blink. You have to keep going. There's nobody over my back. So if we're still learning, phonics in the first grade, so be it. Whereas other states saying they should be reading. Okay, well, I know that may be the case while you're, these workbox videos continue to come out and there's new activities, or there's new things in them, but are they mastering them? Are you building on just giving them what's in their curriculum, what's in their workbook? Are they doing anything besides that? And then a lot of times I see these things loaded with work, and I'm wondering, do these kids play? And I know a lot of people get out of the house. Okay, if you're getting out of the house, how are these kids getting through all this work through the day? That's just, it seems to be too much. And then you come with a new video the next week. I don't get that. Don't you guys get sick? Don't you have to clean your house? Something is, it seems too perfect sometimes in these videos. Okay, like I said, I'm not being judgmental. I'm just putting it out there. I'm not even the only one that has noticed that. A lot of people I've talked to have noticed that in these systems. They seem to be a little more, I'm going to copy off of so-and-so rather than this is what we are actually doing. And that really kind of takes away from people that really need help. And how, the meat of it, to break it down. You guys know I'm a keep it real person. I'm not worried about the comments and the dislikes and all of that. I'm just putting it out there, the truth. Okay, it's conversation on top of conversation. We would like to see how it's actually working. Okay, not, like I said, not what's in there. Because a lot of people are joining, they're coming in and they need help. And if they're just looking at, oh, this is so pretty, this is so colorful, and this is what I have, that's not going to help them, because they're coming to others that are actually putting the videos out there, giving the meat of it, and saying, wait a minute, then why did I see this? Okay? So everybody needs to kind of be a support when it comes to, especially what's in our workboxes, and help everybody out. Okay, it's okay if the child is not mastering that. We want to know why they're not mastering it. Okay, if I say, oh, I did this shapes and colors book, I actually have a book and I'm going to go through it. I don't know if anybody has it, but it may help. We have a set of books. Okay, there's something wrong in the book, the way the book is written, the way they're giving the child the concepts. This book is just all wrong. Tell people that. Tell them that, because they would want to know that. I would want to know that. Okay, even if it's a what is this? Saxon or Matthew C or something. Tell people why it's not working. We need to know that. Not just we have this, oh, you bought this curriculum and it's in the workbox. Is it actually working? Are you able to build on it? What is this others? I can't even think of what I'm getting at. I said Matthew C. I'm looking at it too. Becca. Tell people if it's not working. Oh, I bought this. Don't be afraid because you bought you paid the money. Yes, we know you paid money for it. And you did this great haul for it. Tell us if it's working. Okay, don't put things in the box and then say this is what we did, and then everybody's thinking that this is what's going on, but then you see next thing you know is something completely different. Why did you switch? Okay, that is pretty much like I said, that's just pretty much why we don't use the workbox system. You know, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of videos and it just looks so cool, but the reality of it is you know, it just doesn't happen that way. For some families it does. Again, I'm not knocking anybody, but I still don't see the follow-up to, you know, this is what these kids are actually mastering by doing these systems. Okay, so I encourage you to share that when you're doing those activities. And I try to do the same when the kids are doing the center activities. Show you guys what they're actually doing. And I pulled together, I showed you their actual, you know, why I'm so heavy on math, and their math workbook, their actual textbook, and the activities that I pulled together, why all that stuff works together. I showed you that. I didn't just say this is, oh, look what I found, this is what I printed up, and this is what I'm sticking in the work boxes and the center activities this week, and you can do this too. It actually works with our state curriculum. I have one more video that I need to share with a couple of more resources in that front. But let me get off this little rant on these boxes. But yeah, you guys see, it kind of touchy subject. So anywho, lastly, before I do go, let me share with you on this table, because I know this video is long. They all have a binder, and what I've done is program each one of their binders with notebook paper so that they can learn how to use notebook paper the proper way in a book rather than in a folder where it's loose. I don't like paper out. It's a nemesis. In fact, we have tons of notebook paper because I just don't like to use it. I'd rather for it to be in a book. And then they all have a folder in their book, in their binder, and it just holds random printable coloring pages that I printed out for them that really don't have a home. This stuff should be in there that they just do on like rainy days or downtime or whatever. Also, their nutrition books are in here, and what was in their work boxes that are on the table, because that's what we're working on, are these books, also part of the nutrition. So that was in there, and then books, I keep this bin of books up here, and we kind of rotate out to them, and they know they can just pick up whatever and read a book. And you know, I can work through whatever I need to work through and not feel like they're not doing anything. They're just sitting here playing. So if you guys enjoyed and have gained some more insight, and like I said, by any means, I am not trying to offend anybody, judge anybody. I'm just, you know, putting it out there that this is how we do things, and these are the things that others have noticed in these videos. Okay, a lot of people, you know, are friends and talk, and this is what we notice. You might not see it on your comments, but that's what has been going around as of late. So think about that. Bye, guys.